Kelly Hudson. 'Tis himself. 'Tis himself, Kelly Hudson.
Madam Contest-Master, fellow Toastmasters, Mark Twain summed up the thoughts of every teenager who's ever had a father when he said, "When I was a boy of 14, my father was so ignorant, I could hardly stand to have the old man around. But when I got to be 21, I was amazed at how much he'd learned in 7 years." Like Twain, and much to my surprise, as I matured, my own father underwent an amazing transformation. And suddenly, the same man who once convinced the mayor's wife that the best place to get virgin wool is ugly sheep had invaluable life lessons to share. Still, it wasn't until recently when I discovered how his simple words regarding career, finance, religion, and family held deeper, more powerful messages that I would soon live my own life by. Now, as far as career, my father always encouraged us to work hard, chase our dreams, and to achieve our goals. Aspirations, he'd say. Sure, it's not just when your bum sweats. My father, a true picture of a dedicated professional, served over 5 well-decorated decades in law enforcement. So naturally, when I would stumble along on my own career path, I'd seek his guidance. Usually to walk away just a little bit more confused, as he would remind me, 2 thirds of me life I spent as a cop. Sure, I haven't a clue what I want to be myself. Well, it took almost 20 years of my own vocation to actually comprehend his insight, because what he was telling me was twofold. First, your job, when it's all said and done, is not what defines you in this world. And second, what you are today doesn't necessarily dictate what you can become tomorrow. Unless, of course, you're a Kardashian. Now, the Irish, although incredibly shrewd, have never been known for being financially savvy. In fact, it was often on payday at the pub that I would hear my own father say, "'Tis better to spend money like there's no tomorrow than to be spending tonight as if there's no money." And when asked, he took great pride in explaining his version of a college savings plan. "Sure, we're hoping the 3 of them won't be that bright." But when the time came, it was my father who readily postponed his own calling to take a job at a private university so the 3 of us could earn our college degrees. Now, his lack of a plan to put his kids through college actually taught me more than any 4-year degree, because what I learned was that selflessness for those you love is a far bigger gesture than any check you could ever write. Thank God, because after all those paydays in the pub, there weren't a lot of checks left. Now, by this point, you've figured out that my father is an Irish cop. So it probably goes without saying that he's also a devout Catholic. Devout, of course, meaning those who feel justified in cursing at the once-a-year Catholics for taking our parking spots at Christmas and Easter. At any rate, his commitment to a parking spot in the front and a pew in the back did lay the foundation for my own religious devotion. You see, it was often in Mass, as the priest was anointing the congregation with smoldering incense, that my father, like a giddy little boy, would lean in and whisper the same words his dad had said to him. "'Tis a fine dress you're wearing, Father, but your purse is on fire." And it was always during silent prayer that he would reverently remind me of the golden rule. "Sure, if you fart in church, won't you be sitting in your own pew?" Now, while always inciting a giggle, and sometimes a near ruckus, God forbid Sister Maureen overheard, he did teach me this: it is by attending Mass every Sunday that you will be spiritually fed. And although our rituals and traditions may seem silly, it is these acts of faith and the community that you build within these walls that will nurture and support your beliefs. And someday, those of your family. And being Irish and Catholic, you've got to know a family's coming. Now, as far as family, my father always encouraged us to have them, just so long as we weren't still under his roof. So when Brian and I made the announcement that we were relocating to California to start our family, my father blissfully sent us on with these words. Happiness, he beamed, is having a grand, caring, loving, close-knit family. 3,000 miles away, glory be to God! There was a bit of a jig, and then he helped us pack. These heartfelt, honest words did teach me this. Give your kids all of the love and support that they need to become mature, confident, and self-sufficient adults, so that someday they'll get out to your house. Now, I wouldn't actually be Irish and Catholic if I didn't tell you that that last quote on family, I actually borrowed from George Burns. However, if we're going to be completely and totally honest here, Mark Twain's father, in reality, died when he was 11 years old. If there's one more thing that I've learned, it's that adding just a wee bit of blarney to make a good story even better is always acceptable. And in my family, some would expect it. And that's just one more life lesson from himself. Thank you.
I'm Jamel Thomas, here with Founders District TV at the Fall Conference. I'm here with Kelly Hudson, speech contestant. Hello, Kelly. You want to tell me about your speech and your experience here at the Fall Conference?
Absolutely. My speech was entitled "'Tis Himself," and it was a speech all about my father and kind of the quirky things he said while I was growing up that I didn't quite understand, but now as an adult, I've actually found the meaning in the simple things he had to say.
Okay, that's an excellent speech topic. Can you go into a little bit more detail as far as your preparation for the speech?
A lot of preparation for the speech. I think I've talked my kids' ears off. It was usually their punishment to sit and listen to my speech for an extra 7 minutes. So a lot of preparation went into this, a lot of calling my dad and saying, how exactly did you say that again? And then, of course, practicing my Irish brogue.
You want to give us a snippet of that?
2/3 of me life I spent as a cop. Sure, I haven't a clue what I want to be myself. There you go.
I like.
Thank
Very
you.
good. Felt very Braveheartish.
Thank you. And then I also had to get my daughter, who's an Irish dancer, to teach me a little bit of a jig because I threw a 2-step jig in there. So I needed a little coaching on that as well.
So how'd you feel up there? How many speech contests have you been in?
This is my first.
Your first speech contest. You made all the way to district.
Well, I did advance from the other two up to this part, but this is the first time I've done this. It was on my life list, so I thought I'd better get checking things off at some point.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Why so long? Obviously, you have a great talent for it, so why wait so long to start?
You know, it's a very nerve-wracking thing to do. It's extremely difficult to get yourself enough courage to do a humorous speech contest. It seems almost like storytelling or giving a history of something is a little bit easier than standing up there and hoping people laugh at what you say. So it did take a couple of years of building up some courage to do this.
Anything in particular you did to get over that fear?
Well, I practiced a lot at home to get over that fear. I watched a lot of Comedy Central, hoping that would help me out. Even left it on last night, hoping that it would seep in a little bit.
Through osmosis. I like that.
Yes.
Well, I'm Jamel Thomas, and I'm here with Kelly Hudson. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And we'll see you all at the spring contest next year.
Thank you.